Whoops. Hey guys, I'm Ray and we are streaming blacksmithing. Let's try this again. So today is my affiliate anniversary. Welcome to the stream, everybody. And thank you for joining me. And so today is going to be a celebration of all of you and the support that you guys have given me over this last year and the community that we have built together. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. And I did it again. Oh yes, I had no audio at first. I apologize for that. Every time there's always a little bit of scuff. But yes, thank you so much for, you know, coming on this trip with me. And it's been a magical sort of year, and I never thought we'd get here. So I just wanted to thank you guys for that. So today we have a lot to talk about, I guess. We have a brand new project that we are doing. We have a t-shirt giveaway, and I will be giving away that t-shirt, this Ray's Smithy t-shirt. We will be giving this away at the hour and a half mark. Just because I feel like that's probably the time of the stream where we have the most viewers. So yes, we will be giving away one of these shirts. Not this shirt. I'm not giving you the shirt off my back. This one is a little bit small. I do have three of the decals that I can iron onto a shirt or a shirt size of your choice. So it will fit you. You get to pick what size, and then so my rules on that is you must be present to win. It's going to be like, type a word in chat and, that will enter you into the drawing. I'm going to stipulate that you must be in the United States because I'm not entirely sure how to get or I'm not sure how to send a package internationally. So also remember that you do need to be willing to give me your address so that I can send it to you. It will take me a couple weeks to get it into the mail for you because like I said, I have 3 decals that must be ironed on, and I have to figure out exactly how that works and make sure that it's going to be nice and on there, and you're not going to wash it and it just peel right off. So, I'm gonna, give me a couple weeks on fulfillment of your prize. Stream worn Ray Smithy t-shirt on eBay for $500. I don't know that people would pay $500 for it, but I applaud your enthusiasm, Corwin. Thank you so much. Today's stream is sponsored by Gatorade. Something like that. Maybe not Gatorade, but So, I guess we have an ad break coming in about 30 seconds-ish. Thank you so much for those bits, Ping. So we were able to finish our or putting together our trivet from our, I guess on Wednesday. So this is how it ends, or it looks cold. You can see like the legs moving a little bit. They're not as fluid as I want them to be, and it's a little bit too thin. This leg won't even fold all the way in, so we've got to do a little bit of rejiggering for this, but we're going to wait on that for a little bit. I may end up actually doing that in my free time and then just record it for the long form video. We'll see. We'll see how long it takes us to make our new project. So once this ad is over, I will start talking about today's project, which is the brand new project. We are going to be doing the Mandalorian armor piece, the shoulder plate, and that is a audience choice we had different options, and the audience chose the Mandalorian shoulder. All right, so now we are in ad break. That gives me a chance to kind of make sure that all of the stuff is working. Once the ad is over, I will thank all of the new followers. Thank you so much for those of you who are following during the ad. But yeah, let's see. I think I have all of my things. I think I did set everything up pretty well. All right. I'm going to put, now that I have shown my t-shirt, I'm going to put on my safety equipment. I think that's going to help us a lot. Making sure that, you know, we don't set ourselves on fire, because the forge is wide open today. Because our piece of sheet steel is pretty darn large. It doesn't even fit all the way in there. All right, I'm going to leave those off for a moment. We'll bring those back in a few. Hammer, sandbag, piece of plate, 2 stakes, raising hammer, good tongs, swage block, headphones is over there. Okay, I think I'm ready. All right, guys. So today we are starting a brand new project, and that is the Mandalorian shoulder. This was a audience choice. I decided that we were going to do a piece of armor, and then I let you guys decide what design we went with. Also, I want to thank Atwell Art. Thank you so much for following, and also thank you so much, Mahalo, for resubscribing. 11 months. That is amazing. Thank you so much for all of your support throughout this entire year. I mean, yeah, I would not be where I am today without you guys, you know, and I love this. This is the greatest job I've ever had, you know. So this right here is a piece of mild steel. It's the same steel that we were using for our jingle bells a few weeks ago. So it is about 1/16 of an inch thick sheet steel. It has a light coating of rust on it, but it's very surface level. It's not digging in or anything like that, so we should get a really nice product in the end. Thank you so much. Happy stream anniversary. Thank you. I mean, it's all thanks to you guys, you know? So, I took this and I cut it out with a Beverly shear, which is basically, it's a giant scissors, right? I can kind of show you what that looks like. If you guys don't mind, I'll pan over and you can kind of see it. Let me do that real fast, just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. As I pan over, you can kind of see the window and all my computer setup and the coal forge, and that's the chop saw coming into the screen. We're going to stop right there because there's a little handle on that desk on the other side where the chop saw is, and this is my Beverly shear. So it is a giant scissors, and how that works is you take a piece of sheet steel like so, and push this handle down like so. And now you got 2 pieces of sheet steel. So that's how I did that. I did that a little bit early just so that you guys didn't have to watch me. We're going to pan back around. Hopefully I'm not making you too dizzy. There's my water and the heater and the press, all the hammers. Alrighty. And we are back. We are back to our normal set. So yeah, I took a large piece of sheet steel and I cut this out. I found mine at Harbor Freight. So that thing, this is about as thick as it will go. You can make it or cut it a little bit thicker material than this, but it will dull out your shear a lot faster. So yeah, that one was the Harbor Freight Special. It's bolted onto that desk. Let's see. So, I've got everything nice and set up, I think. We have 2 raising stakes right now. We've got this raising stake, and we're going to start with this one. I've resurfaced it so it's nice and smooth. And then we also have the one that we made together. I will be continuing to resurface this one over the weekend so that it is nice and smooth and shiny like the other one by Monday, because we won't be able to finish this until for a couple streams, I think. But yeah. So for armor, the first thing that we need to do is we need to kind of start a dome. And the first thing that we're going to do, or like how we're going to do that, is we are going to take the sandbag right here and a ball peen hammer, and we're going to kind of start hammering in that center using the sandbag as a backing to kind of give it a little bit of rigidity and dome it out just a little bit. Because if I take this guy over here, I can get the skinnier section in the forge really nicely, but I can't get the big bulbous section in the forge. So we're going to see if we can't do that start of the rounding of this bulbous shoulder section. And maybe we will be able to get it into the forge after we're done with that. So we'll see. We'll see. The reason why it is so wide, or I'm building this for like kind of my size of person, the reason it is so wide is because there is a center ridge in the design. And somehow my phone is ringing. Hey, Bluesy. Well, I could talk to them later, but it says it's suspected spam, so I don't think I want to talk to them later. Okay, so I'm gonna put my eyes on and my headphones on, and then we're gonna start doing a little bit of a doming, a sinking. We're gonna start it cold. So we kind of want to start in the center, rotating it as we go. Getting further and further out. So we're starting to get a little bit of bending outward like that. We are not... So ordinarily, if we were using a rigid backing, we would actually be squishing the material. And we are a little bit as it moves, but we're not forging it down, if that makes sense. Let me grab my other, my glove. I have a... When I cut this out there, it's kind of on the sharp side, so I did actually use a file and smooth it out, but it still kind of scrapes back and forth on my hand, so... So we're starting to get a nice like curve in here, and that's definitely what we want to see, because when we take the stake and we put it here, we kind of want to give ourselves a little bit of curved so that it's not just flat and flopping all over the place. Hey, Bubba. Welcome in, Bluesy. So once I'm done a little bit more of this, we'll kind of see if we can get it back into the forge. All right. And we're getting a little bit of curvature as we go, but it's moving in large sections. As it gets hotter, it'll move a little bit easier. But yeah, that is the beginning. I think I'm going to start the forge and we're going to heat this guy up and see what we can do. All right, so I'll put that there and we'll start the forge. Or we will put the gas into the forge because I am not a smart person and I forgot to do that when I was setting. I set everything else up, but not the gas can. Jeez. So we are using a brand new can of gas, so I don't have to worry about anything because I have the forge all the way open. So it's gonna take a little bit of extra gas to get things going. Alrighty. All right, now we're ready to start the forge. I can keep that going for hours if I truly want to. Gas in a bucket. Something like that. What's going on? Or I think I missed one. Let me get rid of this weird share in chat thing. Oh, I love talking to those sale calls. I let them start talking and go, before you say one more word, let me give you information of a perfect investment opportunity. Then I start talking about my farm and what it does for the community and how they can invest. Ooh, that's actually a really good, a really good idea, because then if they decide that they want to sponsor you, then you get some money, right? And if not, you just annoy them, right? I tend to just hang up on them personally because I just don't want to talk about it or like talk to random people. All right, let's see if I can't do this without singeing my hair too, or not my hair, the hair on the back of my hand. Okay. Let me turn that off real fast. It's going to take me a little bit to get this rejiggered a little bit. We usually have a lot less airflow going on when I start this. So let's see if I can't make it work. It's been a while since I have started it like this. Okay. Are we good? I think we're good. As you can see, the forge is all the way open. No bricks shielding me or anything. I talked to salesperson, but first you have to like and subscribe, right? Thank you so much for that 3-stream streak, Michael. Thank you for your continued support. I greatly appreciate that. Yes, the fire starting ritual. Usually they hang up, but they are not really allowed to do so. Yeah. They kind of have to be, you got them on, you know, at a disadvantage. All right, so we're going to do it this way for now. And it'll get hot but it won't get terribly hot. So it's probably going to get about black hot while we're pulling it out. Um, and what we're going to be doing is we are going to continue sinking into the largest round hole on the swage block. Evening sandwich. Oh, the mic is a bit crackly. I apologize for that. It's probably gonna be a little bit crackly at first, sometimes. It's not well. Okay, is it really bad? Might just be. Alright. Push that in. Push that in. Push that all the way in. And then we shall push these all the way in. That's all I got. So I hope that the sound is a little bit better. Hopefully, if it's not, it'll pass quickly. Wiggle, wiggle, yes. Oh, another thing you can do before you say a word, my time costs X per minute. Give me your credit card number so I can bill you, right? Fixed. Okay, cool. You think it was the laptop connection. That might have been the case. I thought that I pressed it in as much as I possibly could, but you know, sometimes they get a little jiggly. And it did feel like maybe there was a little bit of grit in there when I plugged it in. So hopefully it stays better. All right, there is a little bit of sand in the bottom of that, and I just gave myself a little bit of a steel splinter. Those always suck. All right. So, ordinarily, when you are sinking sheet metal, you definitely want to make sure that whatever the corner edge of that you are sinking into is rounded out, so you don't dig into the piece of steel that you're working with. Unfortunately, at this time, I'm not able to do that. I need these rigid corners for other things. So we're going to be very gentle when we are working with this piece of steel as best we can. I have 2 hammers that we're going to be using. This hammer is the raising hammer. We'll be using that with the raising stakes. And this one is beautiful Damascus steel, and it was made by Knott's hubby, who is a regular viewer on our channel. And then a ball peen, because the round is going to help us sink things. All right, how are we doing on heat? We're getting a little bit of warmth. A little bit. How many hammers do you need if you start blacksmithing? When you're first starting blacksmithing, you really only need 1 hammer. But the longer you are blacksmithing, the more hammers you tend to collect, because each hammer does a different thing, right? And some people just start collecting hammers. So really you only need 1 hammer, but I mean, I've got all of these, and I'm in the process of collecting more. So yeah. Yes. Mahalo, you're totally right. All of them. That's how many hammers I need. All right, so we're starting to get a little bit of heat. Let me grab another pair of tongs, just because I'm going to end up flipping this guy around. I want these guys. And I'll put these down here. All right. Same for the number of saws for a firewood cutter, right? And then there's like collectible saws that you can get too, like, you know, where the wall hanger saws. There's a whole genre of painters that will paint saws, like the big lumber mill saws and the giant like long tree cutting saws and like the regular building saws. There are limits on tools. Nah, that can't be right. Exactly. Why would I ever want to limit the number of tools that I have? I suppose there is an upper limit. I have to be able to walk into the shop and work, right? So I guess I can't pile up all my hammers all the way to the ceiling, you know, from one wall to wall. Okay. So I'm going to do my very best to kind of give you guys good views. But there is quite a great chance that there will be some places that are not as good as others. And I will try to move things regularly. Alright, now we're going to move the tongs over here. We're going to be focusing heavily on this large bulbous area because that's where the shoulder cap is. Alright, so now we're going to turn this over and make sure that we haven't gouged out too much of our steel. That's not terrible. I don't see any like large gouges, at least none that I won't be able to fix later. So we're going to heat this guy back up. We're going to try and see if we can't put it in the forge again on this side. We are almost there, not quite though. So once or twice more on that step, and we should be able to put everything in the forge. Hey Yankee, thank you so much for the well wishes. Yes, today is, well, I guess technically 3 days ago on the 6th was my affiliate anniversary. And you know what? Yankee is a good part of the reason why I was able to get affiliate so quickly. Yankee and Curie raided my stream when I was like a little baby streamer, and I mean I'm still kind of a little baby streamer, but you know, I've grown a little bit. So yes, so Yankee and Curie, thank you so much for those initial raids. I mean, without that, we'd not be here. I think I would still be, you know, looking for jobs. So welcome in, Jack. Okay, grip strength, not hammer. Yeah, we do need a little bit of grip strength here. Happy New Year, yes. I'm here for the Yankee Axe Raid, right? Or from the Yankee Axe Raid, yes. My pleasure. Lots of people help me too. Yes. I mean, that is one thing that I have just been so overwhelmed with is the kindness of the Twitch community and the streamer community. Everyone is always happy to help out people, you know, other streamers, you know, whether it's technical issues or like, you know, helping out with building communities and, you know, doing collaborations. The Twitch community is just like incredible. There's nothing like this, you know? Hey, Bluesy. Hey, Ray. I try to get to John to raid you from time to time. Yeah, we used to raid John quite a bit, so we have also gotten a lot of help from John's stream. And yeah, it's been a long time since we've been able to raid him because he started streaming so much earlier. So I kind of feel like our streams don't quite line up for raids as well anymore. So yeah, but I appreciate it. So yeah, there's just so much help and community here on Twitch, you know, and it's incredible. Thank you guys so much. All right, so we are at the, my glasses are really foggy right now. We're at the 30-minute mark, so in about an hour, we are going to be giving away our first Raise Smithy shirt. Let me see if I can't clean my glasses so that I can read. So filthy. Earlier, I was wearing my dust mask, and sometimes when I put my dust mask and my safety glasses on at the same time, you get that like breath fog, and I wasn't able to clean it all the way off apparently. Ooh, I can see a little better now. That's better. That's better. Alrighty. We're going to do a second round here on the swage block. And then from there, I think we're going to start working with the raising stakes. So after this, we're going to do a little bit of shifting of stuff. I'm going to be shifting the camera. We're going to be getting rid of the swage block so I've got a good space to work. And I think I have a decent angle in mind that we can use. Let me know how it goes. But yeah, let's do our next heat. We've got 3 minutes before an ad starts. Let's see if I can't make it finish it before that ad starts. Okay. So we're getting quite a bit of folding. You can see like the little angles starting to form right there. We actually want to see that. That's going to help us move the steel really quickly. All right. Now we're going to shift this on this side just to make sure we haven't gotten too deep of gouges, and it looks like we're still pretty safe. Let me toss this in the forge. Hopefully we can get it in there now. Ooh, almost. So close. I think like that. That'll work. Okay. We're going to move that one because we're not going to use that anymore. We're going to need these and those. So let's move this guy over here. There. That works. Okay. We are going to move this chair over here. And the reason we're moving the chair over here is because this post vise is a little bit tall for this job. I don't get a lot of hammer leverage, but with this chair, I can kind of sit up a little bit higher and get a little bit more leverage. So I should be able to work a little bit easier like this. And we can go like so, and we'll be good to go. Just like this. All right. Now I need to move the camera. I think I forgot to hit record. But that's all right, I think. I can always do it again. All right. I think the best view is going to be over my shoulder a little bit. So if I move this like so. Hopefully my shoulder doesn't get in the way. We'll have to kind of check that. I am going to change the camera real fast so that I can kind of view it. We've got an ad going, so I think it'll be all right. If I sit in the chair and we see, okay, I think we'll be all right. I think that's a decent view. Okay. I know you answered this before, but I forgot. Is the sheet thickness the same as you'd use for mock combat armor or more cosplay weight? I will answer that question once the ad is over, just because I think it's a really good question, and I want to make sure everybody can listen. But that's a really good question. Ooh, we're getting some real nice heat in there on that central shoulder comp area. So I'm really excited about that. We're gonna get some good movement. We are gonna, because it is so thin, we're gonna see a lot of shifting like so, and we're gonna have to work with that. Okay, so to answer Mahalo's question, Mahalo says, I know you answered this before, but I forget. Is the sheet thickness the same you'd use for mock combat armor or more cosplay weight? Okay, so I think I said this is about a 1/16 of an inch thick. And that translates to a 20 gauge sheet steel, because sheet steel is often measured in gauges. And the larger the number, the thinner the sheet. The smaller the number, the thicker the sheet. So this is a 20 gauge-ish, maybe more like an 18 gauge sheet steel. And you need a 10 gauge minimum sheet steel for heavy combat, for SCA, or for HEMA. So no, this is more of a cosplay thing. I don't actually have any of the really thick stuff. But yeah, you would want 10 gauge sheet steel, which is a little bit less than a 1/4 inch thick. I think it'd be, I don't know, like somewhere between an 1/8 and a 1/4. So yeah, this is more of a cosplay weight. And part of that too is that a lot of people don't really know how, or like, especially if you're making the sheets or like the armor yourself, a lot of people don't know how to upset the sheet in on itself. In armor smithing, or like when you're a really novice. So you want that extra material so that when it stretches out into that curved shape, you still maintain a safe thickness. Yeah, 10 gauge is pretty heavy. If that's the minimum, wow. Yeah, and I mean, it can be relatively heavy, but a full suit of armor that is HEMA grade oftentimes is about 60 to 70 pounds for a helmet, shoulder guards, arms, full breastplate, legs. So you're looking, 60 to 80 or 70, 80 pounds, somewhere in there. This is going to be really, really light. But this is what I have right now. Okay, so let's do another heat. I'm going to try and see how well this goes. I'm going to put our inset right there. Okay. I'll put that there. I want that like so. And we flip our piece. My back is not happy. Or the back of my chair is not happy, is what I'm trying to say. Whoops. There went that. Okay, we're starting to get some weird folds and things, and that's not terrible. We're gonna get those, especially right off the bat. We will be moving closer and, like, I guess, to the edge, and we'll smooth that out as we go. But we're really just starting to get in that center shoulder. That's the part that's gonna stick out the most. Yankee is right. You blacksmiths sure do beat your vices, right? I do. No tool is safe. The meetings will continue until morale improves. That's how things work. Let me see if I can't fix the back of my chair. Look at that. That's kind of crazy. There must be some kind of thing I can tighten so that I don't end up, like, falling out of the chair as we go. Absolutely, IO. Thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the community. All right. Down here, we've got little knobbers. Ew, they're greasy knobbers. The chair gets it too, right? I don't know what the deal with that is. Maybe if I grab another glove, I'll be able to, but it's slick. Where's my right glove? I know I got like 16 right gloves laying around somewhere. Okay, that's a little better. Okay. So we are using a welding glove because the position that I have to actually hold the tongs in order to move the piece of steel around makes it really warm on the interior of my forearm. So this kind of protects my arm from the heat. Working with propane forges, glowing metal or bandsaws, the biggest injury risk is falling from the chair, right? Well, I mean, it was all moving and stuff, and I almost fell out of the chair when I was getting into it the first time, so, you know. I figure it's probably better to try and fix it first. Alright, let's see. I was able to wipe the grease off my fingers. That's good. I don't want to grease up my hammer handle. I mean, yes, a cord on the floor can be devastating. So devastating. All right. So, are you guys able to actually... Why is that not? Are you guys able to see all right? Was that a decent enough angle for you guys to be able to like see kind of what I'm trying to do? It's the stuff you're not paying attention to that gets you, right? It's like the flame, the open flame, I don't have any issue with that at all because I'm very aware and very respectful of it. I'm not going to shove my fist inside the forge or anything, but I'm not paying attention to a punch that fell out of my container and is on the floor, and you know, you step on the punch the wrong way and whew, legs go out from under you. All right, let's do another heat. So yeah, I hope that this is a decent angle for you guys, and I will be moving it a little bit too, because I have a few things that I want to talk about in regards to what we're doing and how we're doing it, and I want to show you guys what I'm talking about. The worst part Alright, so I think you guys can kind of see that there's a little round area that is starting to form. And that's exactly where I want that to be. So we're going to start focusing in on the closer towards the edges. We're going to do a round past this direction, then we're going to do a round past that direction. I want to kind of smooth that bulbous section out and make sure that that happens everywhere. The chair can't be trusted. I think Mahalo was there when mine broke in half. Ooh, that's not cool. In safety audits, we were asked to remove all cords from under desks in the office because in case of a fire, you might get your feet tangled up in them and not be able to get out in time. So they say. It's totally true, though. And I mean, I won't say that, you know, because that's happened in this shop before. I'll have like a coiled up extension cord and I'll accidentally step on it and it rolls and then it kind of lassos your foot. It less happens under my desk, but I know where those cords are, so you know. If you die to a power cable running from a fire, you weren't gonna make it. Right? That's crazy. That's crazy. So, there may be a couple of camera angles that I might try and do that you might be able to see them in the wide shot, like the close-up tripod. I'm going to try and kind of give you as best a view as I possibly can. Because I am right-handed, I kind of feel like facing this direction is going to be best. Otherwise, my elbow is going to be in the way a lot. But I think I'm doing all right. I'm going to move over there at some point. That way you can kind of see what's happening on the inside. As I hammer, I'll probably do maybe 1 or 2 heats like that. I don't want to, you know, I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing, but that's also a good angle. You're more apt to start a fire with the frayed cables on your desk. That's what I thought. If my rear end starts burning, I will not be held back by some cord. But it's Germany. There are rules. Right? Alright, let's check out our steel. We're doing pretty good. So I'm actually expecting this to take several streams. But yeah. We should be making pretty decent progress today, though. You should be able to start seeing how it's going to look as we go. There will actually be some, well, I keep saying that word actually. I need to like put a rubber band around my wrist and snap it every time I say that word. I hate that word. Because then I have to edit it out of every video. Anyway, and back to what I was talking about. There are borders and edging that we will be chasing into the piece of steel after we've gotten a nice round pauldron out of it. I live in America, the land of suggestions. I live in Germany, the land of rules and avoiding risks at all costs. Man, the amount of people that hurt themselves breaking rules is unreal here in the United States. Oh no, you have a sign that says no skateboarding on your sidewalk? I'm gonna skateboard on your sidewalk anyway, and then I'm gonna break my wrist. Happens way too often. I don't really have a good table for this setup. Thank you so much, Christy. It says happy anniversary or affiliate anniversary. Yes. Oh, I feel targeted with that statement, right? Some days I feel targeted with that statement. All right, let's do another heat. Let's make sure that I have everything I need. We've got a weird wrinkle right there. I'm going to try and take that out. There we go. That's better. Man, my leg's getting in the way. There we go. That's better. Alright. Back in the heat. It's starting to be a little bit floppy, so it's getting harder to get it back in the heat again. I think it'll be all right there. Pauldron. I am too. Rabbit Scotsman has a five stream streak. Awesome. The German way to think of that, no problem, because you forbid this skating on your property. The person was not allowed to do what they did. Therefore, the broken wrist is, in theory, their own fault, and they cannot sue you. So better simply forbid everything so you're liable for nothing, although you do not care whether someone skates or not. I mean, cover your own rear. That's kind of the thing, you know? It's what everybody here tries to do. I mean, that's why we have on the coffee cups, you know, caution hot. I mean, there's definitely a reason why the lady ended up suing McDonald's for the hot coffee, because it was like way scalding hot and the cup didn't survive. So like it was their liability, and it did do quite a bit of damage to that lady, but still, you know, it seems on face value to be kind of like a ridiculous lawsuit. A lady sued McDonald's for spilling hot coffee on her over her legs in the drive-thru. But like I said, the coffee was so hot that it compromised the paper that the cup was made of. So it was McDonald's fault. So like I said, this might take a little bit of time, but you will be able to kind of see how this works. And it should be a fun project. I really enjoy doing this stuff. Like I said, this is a really thin piece of steel, so it is going to move and shift a lot, and it's going to take a lot of rounds on the stake for it to stay where we want it to go. Eventually it will, but it might take some doing and patience, which I don't normally have, but for this, I can make an exception. All right, so we are at the 1 hour mark. I will be doing our drawing for the shirt, and I'll show you the shirt. This is the shirt that we will be winning. I'm going to be giving that away in 30 minutes. Acute Bana, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the community. So yeah, these shirts were designed by my mom and my sister, and they had the decals professionally printed, and they made 8 decals. So there are 5 other shirts that are, you know, out there besides the 3 that you eventually will be able to get your hands on. However, they're owned by each of the members of my immediate family. So, you know, like my parents. Eventually, I do plan on putting this design up on a print-on-demand website in case you guys are unable to win but still want to wear a shirt, or, you know, to have a shirt. But I think that's the most economical way, because our community is still a little bit on the small side. So I think that making a large order of the shirts is going to be a little bit outside of reason at this time. But yeah, I will make sure that we put the design on a print on demand. I do want to make sure that I order one before I announce that it's up and open, because I want to make sure that we're getting quality shirts. So it might take me a little bit of time. This is something I'm always puzzled by, culture-wise. If compared to Europe, U.S. culture emphasizes freedom and self-responsibility. Do whatever you want and live with the consequences, but then this is far-reaching product liabilities. I messed up, so I'll sue someone for it. It seems a bit contradictory. I mean, I'm not going to comment too much about that, but I think that if you get injured and it is the fault of a company or another person, then I think the logic is that company or person has taken away your freedom to move about the world in a way in which you are comfortable. Nah, people don't accept consequences here. It's always someone else's fault. Alright, let's do another heat. I'll do what I want. It's your problem if you don't like it. Something like that. Alright, I want this if so, I guess. We're bouncing a lot. Alright, I think my next heat I'm going to try and remember to do this side up here at the top. It's going to be a little bit more challenging to get it in and out of the forge as it is right now, but we're going to try it. Okay, we have an ad incoming shortly. So after that ad is over, I think we should have plenty of heat in order to do another heat, but I think I'm going to, or like another round of pass on the Pauldron, but I think I'm going to change the angle. I do want to show you guys what it looks like from the inside of the round shape. I am having a little bit of trouble where the Pauldron is slipping over the stake a little bit. So I'm trying to readjust, but I'm really used to doing this cold. So the introduction of the tongs is a little bit of a challenge, and it's going to take a little bit of time to work through that. So you'll have to forgive me. As I try to drink through the lid. So I will be taking, or I will be rating off at the 2.5 hour mark, which is our normal time period for the stream. And the reason is because the last couple of streams that I've done the extended 3-hour streams, and it's kind of starting to take a toll on my body. So I need to make sure that I am resting, and so we will be doing the 2.5 hour stream and then continuing this project on Monday. But we should have a decent amount of time together anyway. Your cool color changing metal, all you need is thousands of degrees. I mean, yes, I am changing the color of this metal. It is going from rust colored to glowing orange to black and back to glowing orange. And yes, it is thousands of degrees Fahrenheit. Probably also thousands of degrees Celsius, but not as many thousands of degrees, I think. We are around 2,300 degrees Fahrenheit, I think, somewhere in there. I guess I could do the math if I want. Take care of yourself. Yeah. I definitely will peek. All right, so the ad break ends in about a minute and a half. Let's change the angle of the camera. I'm trying my best to make sure that everything is nice and in focus, but I'm not entirely sure that every single one of these is going to be in focus. But I will do my very, very best. Okay. So from here, you should be able to see the interior angle. And I will explain to you why it's interesting and important to get the interior angle when all of the action is happening on the exterior angle. 23 degree or 100 degrees Fahrenheit is 1260 Celsius, says Google. Says Google. Alrighty. Alright, so we are back. 2300 degrees Fahrenheit is 1260 degrees Celsius, says Google. See, like I said, it is less thousands of degrees in Celsius. New perspective, yeah. Okay, so I have moved the camera from over there to over there, like the close-up camera. So previously you were seeing what I was doing from the outside, what I see, right? So now the camera is going to show you what happens, or it's going to show you what's going on the inside. I hope, fingers crossed, that I aimed it correctly. But the reason why I think that it's interesting and important for you guys to see the interior is that I am doing my very best to angle the piece of steel over the stake, so that I am not hammering directly on the stake, squishing the material. I'm hammering the air or the piece of steel into the pocket of air that's underneath of the piece of steel, right? So that moves the material and kind of bunches it up without thinning out the material and crushing it. So that is kind of an upsetting process in the blacksmithing sphere. You are thickening out the material marginally on a molecular level, as opposed to if I were hammering directly on the stake, I would be thinning it out. I'm going to need another opinion from Ask Jeeves, right? Man, Ask Jeeves is so old. It's been forever since I've used Ask Jeeves. Let's see, what is going to be the best? I think that's still going to be the best view. I think. Alright, I wanted to do the top. So I want to move this direction. Pull it out. Pick it up from over here. Hop up here like so. So we're now starting to see a bulbous section starting to form, and it's starting to increase out towards the edges, and that's exactly what we want to see. We're eventually going to get over here as well. We'll kind of shimmy the steel back and forth a little bit. We want this section to be the most bulbous, and this section to kind of thin out a little bit. We want to give us a little bit of a curve inward, but not a major curve inward. So maybe I should hold it over here, because you guys weren't actually seeing that very well. Okay, so the bulbous section is right here. We want to shift that over this direction. So now we've kind of got a bowl going on. It would be nice if this would actually go in the forge very, nicely, but it's not playing nice with me. Do you think the Jingle Bell project was a nice little warm-up for this one? I actually do, because it kind of reminded me how this kind of sheet steel moves, because it is really flappy, and so I'm kind of aware that that's going to happen, and I should be able to identify it quickly and make sure that we don't get any cracking, if that makes any sense. And I have done quite a bit of armor work with this gauge of steel. I've made several shoulder pieces. I've made some knee cups, and various other things that, of the armor persuasion for a cosplay that I made at one point. So I have experience, but it's been quite a while, so it was a really nice warm-up. Oh, it's a thumbs up. I don't know what I thought that emote was, but I don't know, like picking nose or like touching the ear or something. It's a thumbs up. All right. 15 minutes, and I'm going to give away my shirt. So we'll probably do 1 or 2 more heats. I'm planning on doing like a 5 or 10 minute window for the giveaway, just so that people who need to go and do things in real life don't feel obligated to stay for long periods of time, because I want you guys to be around when the winner is picked. So that way you guys can go off and, do your chores or get back to work and things like that. All are correct. Could be. Alrighty. We're going to do another heat. One more heat with this angle, and then I think I'm probably going to change our angle again. I'm not entirely thrilled by either of those last few angles. of hammering on that edge a little bit to make it a little easier to get this guy back in the forge. That section right there, and then the section over here, making it rather difficult. Alright. We aren't moving so much, so we'll get in the forge anyway. Alright. You can't give away your shirt. This is a family-friendly stream. I have said that this is a family-friendly stream and a family-friendly channel. However, I'm not giving you the shirt off of my back. I'm giving you the option of picking a size. So this shirt, the shirt off of my back, would not fit you guys, or like some of you guys anyway, because I'm a little small person. So I will allow you guys to pick the size of the shirt, and then I will iron on the decal. And these decals are professionally made by a screen printer. And so they should iron on really nicely. It'll probably take me a try or two to get them on. So that's why we're only giving away 2 out of the 3 right now. So we're giving away one of the shirts here in a few moments. And then the other shirt I'm going to give away on my YouTube channel. Just to give it a little bit of a fair shake. So what I'm going to do is it's either going to be next Wednesday or the Wednesday after. I will take all of the comments off of that video, and we will draw one randomly, depending on how many comments are on that video, and then we will give away the shirt. I want them on my long form videos to encourage people to watch them. I wear what most people call a 3X, or as I refer it to it, 3 times fat. Well, that's kind of, I don't know. I don't like talking negative about people, you know? Even if it's in jest. Hey, Alexi. Good morning. Good morning. So, like I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm going to limit the shirt giveaway to the United States, because I'm not entirely sure how to send mail internationally. I will look into figuring that out, so future giveaways I can open it up to all of you guys. So I greatly apologize for that. I really wanted to open it up to the international audience, because we have such a large international audience, and I don't want to leave you guys out. But I need to figure out how to go about doing that through, the mailing system. I think I'm going to probably have to use like DHS or something like that. But yeah, if you guys have any ideas on how that might happen, send me a link, I am all over giving, or I want to include you guys. So if you guys know how I would go about sending you guys, international people, a shirt, please do let me know. Lexi will call me fat. No problem with it. I mean, there's a type of friend who has permission to, harass you, or, people in general. But I don't know that I know you guys quite that much, so I try to be as nice as possible. And I am planning on doing some more giveaways throughout my time streaming. I'm not entirely sure what and when those giveaways are, but I will keep you guys posted. There's always giving away the projects that we make on stream, like some of the smaller projects. So I don't know. I you know, the project wall is only so big, and the butler has talked about once we fill the project wall, like starting to give them away so we can replace them with new things. Give it time. We grow on you like mildew in the shower. I mean, you know, mildew in the shower. I mean, I'm not entirely sure that that's a good thing. Good point. It seems like a contradiction, but it's caused by competing interests influencing government policy. Historically, there was a freedom and lack of a nanny state, but things have changed a lot legally and culturally, and now it's very complex. Laws vary by region, and culture varies by the individual. In some cases, we have a mixture of seemingly opposite extremes. And then the mold creeps in, right? But mold is like bad for you and stuff. You guys aren't bad for me. I'm going to change this angle real fast because I'm not thrilled with it. I think we're going to go back over here because I think the best angles are kind of over my shoulder. So I think we're going to probably go like right around here, maybe. Let me walk around the camera so I'm not tying myself up. Okay. Trying to figure out where's a good place to put the inset on this view. Because I'm sitting in my chair, I can't use my board. Penicillin is a mold that has saved millions. Mold isn't bad. All right, you're right. You're right. Ray, how would you rate the level of freedom in the United States? That is a very politically charged statement, and I'm going to refrain from answering that question. I apologize, but like I have said on many occasions, I want this stream to be a respite from the crazy stuff that's happening all across the world. I mean, it's not just in the United States. There is so much crazy going on all around the world, and I want this to be a respite. So I'm not going to get into my personal politics. So I apologize for that one. Yeah, I agree. It could be politically charged. So we're starting to kind of see all of the rust falling off of this piece. We're getting a nice forge scale going. I really like that look. However, this is the Mandalorian pauldron, so we're going to have to polish it all off. Alright. Back in the heat. And then I think we're gonna do our giveaway. You need a heavier hammer. I mean, I do, but I'm not really forging it per se. I was watching A Knight's Tale last night, and it reminded me of you. There is a female blacksmith in that movie. All right, we're gonna do a keyword. I'm currently setting up our giveaway. Okay, who can participate? Everybody can participate. I haven't watched that in so long, right? What's a good keyword for this? Okay. Making sure that I've got everything nice and on there. I think I've done it. Okay. To enter, type exclamation point more heat. Exclamation point more heat. Just like that. We'll see if it populates. All right, awesome. Looks like it's populating. Cool. Exciting. Okay, so I'm gonna give that a couple of heats, maybe one or two, and that way you guys have time. We are populating, yes. So there's like this little screen on the giveaway, and I wasn't sure if it was gonna show me or whatever what they look like. So yeah, all right. So we have all of our entries. They're there. So I've got a couple. I'm gonna give you a few minutes in case some people are trickling in. So yes, exclamation point more heat to enter. And like I said, please do give me a couple weeks to kind of get the iron-on filled or like figured out, and then also the be able to send it. One entry per person, yes. This time, maybe some other times I'll let you guys spam it, but one entry per person. All right. Let's see. Let's do another heat. That's all right. Oh, I left it over there. It's like, where did I put my glove? Alrighty. So Nuts asked or told me that I need a heavier hammer for this process. And how I was taught is it's not the weight of the hammer, it's the grip that you have on the piece of steel. I don't have the best grip with these particular tongs. It's there, but I don't know. I'm not used to holding the piece this way because you really have to. Here, let me. I think this end is cool enough that I can pick it up. But you really want to put a large amount of pressure on the piece. That way, it's not going to jump on you. Ooh, it's starting to get warm, which I knew it would. So yeah, you really need to get a really good grip on there, and the tongs are kind of I just haven't figured out quite the best way to hold them, whether I want to hold them like this, or if I want to hold the piece like this. I'm not sure which is going to be our better grip. So my instructor for silversmithing used a hammer very, very similar to this guy, very similar in weight and everything, to move like much thicker sheet metal, like 10 gauge steel, because she was doing some really bulbous shapes and hand chasing things in there. So she always used to tell us that we needed really good hand strength and grip in our holding hands, if that makes sense. Yes, explanation point, more heat. If you would like to enter the drawing for the Ray's Smithy t-shirt, like I said, if you do not win, I will have a single print like t-shirt design website that I will upload the design to, and you'll be able to purchase those shirts if you desire them. And I mean, you never know. I might buy some more and send them out to you guys as prizes later on. I haven't quite figured that out yet. All right. We've got an ad that is going to be starting in about a minute and a half. And once that ad is done, I think I'll probably end the giveaway. So hopefully everybody has their entries in. Like I said, you have to be willing to give me your address. And unfortunately for this particular giveaway, you have to be a resident of the United States or have a resident of the United States that you can, or that I can send it to, that can get it to you. Alrighty. I've got my tab that I normally use to monitor the stream is blinking at me. Alright, so we are in the middle of an ad break. Oh, well, I won't be able to receive it if I would win. Just give it to someone else then. Okay. I mean, I apologize. Like I said, I do really want to give away the shirts and other things internationally. I just am not quite sure how to do that. I need a little bit of time to research that. If any of you guys have methods or ideas on where to start, please do send me a link, let me know, send me a PM, something like that. That way I can include everyone. like I said, I think I'm going to start with DHL. I think they're an international shipping service. But I'm not positive that that's the only one, and I'd like to get as good a deal as possible. I think it's a little bit easier to ship out of the US than into the US right now. Maybe I can ask John. John ships internationally, right? Because doesn't John give away a knife every month to his viewers? Maybe I'll have to ask him how he goes about doing that. All right. I am going to choose a winner, guys. I'm going to choose a winner. Woohoo! Mahalo! You did not hear a word of that. I'm sorry. Hashtag rigged. Awesome. I mean, thanks. Awesome. Great. Send me a PM. Well, yeah, with your address, or I'll use the the return address from the chain that you shipped me once I get that. But yes, I will send that out as soon as I got it ironed on. Please do. What am I trying to say? Let me know what size shirt that you would like. Also, if you want a different color besides black, you can kind of pick what color you want. I'll pick up a shirt and I will iron that on hopefully this weekend if I can manage it. Most of us that shipped internationally just used USPS. That was the cheapest way to mail stuff to myself. Okay. Yep, cool. I will DM on Discord. Awesome. And I did make sure that I did not rig it. There is a function that I could rig it if I wanted to, but I did not. I promise I didn't rig it. Pirate ship is great and it saves a ton of money. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I use pirate ship. Okay. I will check that out. I'll search them up. Pirate ship. Okay. We're still good on the camera. I'm going to do another heat. USPS. I wonder if, can you do a USPS for, like, can I ship using a flat rate box with USPS? Because that always seems to be one of the cheaper ways to ship things. Here in the United States, anyway. As flat rate boxes. I'm going to start trying to use the other grip in hopes that maybe it'll work a little easier. Okay. We're starting to get there. We've got a few folds that I need to take out of this. Then we'll be able to go over here. I think I'm going to focus in on this halo here. because we've got a nice bowl shape already. I think their business model is they just take a lot of shipments, so they have argued discount rates with major shippers. No, the flat rate is domestic only. Okay. I mean, I figured it was domestic only because that would be kind of awkward, you know, if you're shipping something internationally for like $20, you know. Every time the hammer comes into focus, I remember how pretty it is. I mean, yes. And it was made by Knott's hubby, John Brunel, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I'm so glad. I'm so glad to have it. I mailed my important documents last June, but it was going to be $150 through UPS, and I wound up being $80 through the Postal Service. Registered mail, and it took 5 weeks. That's actually relatively reasonable, to be honest. I found out that my TV has Twitch, so the hammer looks even better on a big screen. Ooh. I did hear that there is an app on a lot of smart TVs that you can look or watch Twitch on. You can also watch YouTube that way as well. Primarily, the people who watch my YouTube videos are watching it on their TVs and on their phones. I wish they would choose TVs over phones because phones are so teeny. But I mean, I appreciate every view, whether they watch it on computer, cell phone, or TV, you know? Definitely on LG TVs, yes, there is, yes. Ah, goodness gracious, my nose is itching for no reason. Actually, there is a reason. It's because there is a little bit of the forge scale that's bouncing up, and I think it's making me a little sneezy. All right, I'm gonna grab a drink of my water. I think I haven't been drinking as much this stream because I have half of my water left, and we're almost at the 2-hour mark, which is kind of crazy because I'm usually drinking my Gatorade by this time. It's totally because I have so much crap on this like shelf, and this is usually where I put the water. I am not as hydrated today. Iron boogies, yes. Oh man, have you guys? Those of you who actively work with steel, do you guys ever get that? You know, even though you're wearing your dust mask, you get the black boogers. Ugh. I do my best to get rid of all of that by wearing, you know, face masks so that when I'm grinding stuff, especially long-term grinding, I'm not like inhaling that stuff. Icky. I mean, hazards of the job, but icky. Let's do another heat. See if I can't grab it like so. Alrighty. So we've got some like ripples that I need to take care of. And really the best way to do that is to kind of hammer them directly on the steak. See if I can't do this with the skinny end. This is an upsetting process. And I know I've already said that since we've been streaming today, but you know. Instead of stretching the metal out, we are pushing the metal in and thickening it up. Now, the other thing that we are actually losing metal is all of this forge scale that keeps popping off. We are losing minute amounts of material. So I think that in the end, we're going to get a relatively even amount of metal thickness, because what we have made by raising this instead of sinking it, we have lost from forge scale falling off. So we'll see how it goes. We're in the really early stages of this piece of armor. See if I can get this in there somehow. There we go. So we're starting to get kind of a shallow bowl, and that's really what this particular steak is designed for, a really shallow bowl. But it's also really, really good to start for like a frying pan or something, because like the depth of a frying pan is not actually that large. So this actually works very well for that. Once you get that shallow bowl, you will have to flatten out that bottom with, you know, other tools. One of my favorite tools for doing that is this piece of steel right here. Let me pick it up. It's a nice round bottom that I can flatten things out with. I have another one that's a little bit smaller, somewhere about yay big around, that I use a lot as well for that particular purpose, like flattening out a bottom on a bowl. So on Monday, I'm going to switch to the raising steak that we made together, because that one is designed for a much more shallow bowl, or I mean a much more deep bowl. We should be able to get much more bulbous steel. So we're going to start with that one on Monday. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about water, I'm like, you know, making up the difference between the less water that I made or that I drank the beginning of the stream and the water that I have, you know, in my container now. I'm drinking it all. So once we've actually curved the entire pauldron and kind of created like the bowl that we want for it, we are going to be decorating it. And that's going to take another decent amount of time. What we need to do is we need to take a chasing chisel and a hammer, and we need to use the chisel to kind of create the ridges. There are borders all the way around the pauldron, and then there is a stripe down the middle of it. And we're going to be using a chisel to kind of get those nice crisp corners. But we're not going to use a square-headed chisel. The chisels that we use for that have rounded heads. That way we don't end up poking holes in the steel with the corners of the chisel. So I have a special set of the Green Harbor Freight chisels that I have cleaned up and gotten rid of the like really sharp edges so that we can do that. We use microcrystalline wax or pitch as a resist so that we can push down into the steel, maintain that round shape, and pop up the ridges. And so I use microcrystalline wax because I just have a lot of it, but the proper and traditional way to do that is to use pitch. You know, like tar and pitch. So it's like this greenish yellow color. It kind of reminds me of like the innards of peas. And you heat it up and you affix the piece onto it, and it creates like a resist inside of the concave or convex part of the piece that you're using. And then you heat it up again and you pull it off when you're done or when you need to move it. So I have 3 crock pots like this big around. One I use for pickle, one I use for microcrystalline wax, and then one I use for nickel pickle. Because nickel needs to be pickled in its own solution or it will contaminate your copper and brass. The difference between a copper pickle and a nickel pickle is that, and I say pickle because, you know, basically it's like, sometimes it's vinegar, sometimes it's a specialized chemical, sometimes it is a fructose acid, and I use a fructose acid. So you pour a little bit of the powder inside of a water mixture, and it will take all of the discoloration off of your metal. And now it will not work for steel, because if you use steel in the pickle, it will actually copper plate it. So if you ever wanted to copper plate something, you know, fructose juice, or I guess not juice, but like they have it at the health food store, they have like big barrels of like fructose acid, and you put it in water and you can plate steel with it. Definitely want to be careful if you're working in brass though, because you know you got your brass color and you want to keep that. Otherwise you'd be using copper, right? But yeah, and then nickel pickle, the difference between that and, you know, regular pickle is that there is also baking. Is it baking soda? There's no way it's baking soda, because that is a base, and if you add that, you neutralize it, and then you just have water. There's something else, another chemical. I'll need to look it up. But there's another chemical in nickel pickle. All right, let's do another heat. All right, and again, we're gonna focus on these ridges that are popping up. need to tighten my stake. It keeps wobbling in there. Alright, more heat. Ooh, I've gotten it to a point where I can get more of it in there. Where does the copper come from in there? The reason that you can, or I guess the copper comes from the copper that you are pickling in with the steel, right? So usually when you're using the pickle, it eats away the copper, and so you've got citric acid. That's what I mean, not fructose. Citric acid and copper in the solution eventually, right? And then when you put the steel in there, those copper molecules are attracted to the steel. Yes, so you need to use. Yes, you need used pickle. They only seem to have oxygen and hydrogen. I think I missed the top of that comment. But yes, you need used pickle in order to plate. So the copper has to have already been in it. However, I learned from Curie that steel tools must never be put in the pickle. Yes, that's why, right? Because once you put a piece of steel into the pickle, it will start plating everything. And it's a contamination. So that's why when you have a pickle, you use copper tongs. That way, you don't have to use like steel tongs, and then it won't copper plate anything. Yes, yes. A lot of what I'm telling you guys today, I mean, Kiri probably has already told you, or may have already told you before, because Kiri is also a goldsmith, and probably also does silversmithing as well. So I'm kind of borrowing her wheelhouse a little bit here. We'll get back to blacksmithing eventually. We're just going to take a couple week break, I think. And I mean, technically, we are still blacksmithing. It's just a different type of blacksmithing. So I've been thinking about how I want to do the logo, because this pauldron has a mudhorn logo on it that's kind of in relief on the side of the shoulder plate, and I definitely want to make sure that we are making that shoulder plate. The other one does not have that logo. I'm debating if I want to chase it in to the side of the pauldron after we've already put everything else in, or if I want to affix it later. Technically, silversmith is different apprenticeship originally, but I think they are kind of put together. So for some reason, she is allowed to still call herself a silversmith. Yeah, originally they were all completely different disciplines, and they all took really long apprenticeships where you had to travel around and just become a master at your craft. But these days, usually a college equivalent, or a college degree or the equivalent, will give you that amount of material, of credibility, I guess. I'm not entirely sure it's the same amount of skill necessarily, but it is kind of how we do things. All right, let's do another heat. hopefully we can get it done in time before the ad starts. We're gonna try and beat the ad. So hot. Once again, we are focusing in on those ripples. Those ripples are not bad. They actually help us get the curvature that we want quicker. There are some silversmiths who actually develop those deliberately. We're starting to get a little bit of the back and forth again. But if I turn this over, you guys can kind of start seeing that there is a bowl shape that is developing. Like I said, it'll take us a little bit of time to get that brought in a little bit further. And I almost feel like it would be a little bit easier if I started with something a little bit thicker. This is kind of thin and flappy steel. So we're going in a little bit and then out a little bit. Here for craft, you have to have a 3-year apprenticeship to become a journeyman or woman. Then there are some more preconditions like years of experience, some courses and exams to become a master smith. Curie has combined the master in goldsmithing with additional degree in design. In some professions, being a certified master is still a legal precondition to opening your own store, while journeymen and women can only be employees. I mean, yeah, that's reasonable. It's not quite like that in the United States, but the United States is a little bit different because there are more independent shops and conglomerate shops. Most of the independent stores are like 1 or 2 jewelers working together, and the conglomerate shops are where you get lots of smiths working together. So, I went through an apprenticeship through a conglomeration, and that's how I got my journeyman title. But then before that, I went to college for it. So, yep. All right. We're in the middle of an ad, and I'm going to go grab a Gatorade because I'm out of water and I'm still thirsty. So I will be right back. That is not a Gatorade. Well, you know what? I may be out of luck. I am out of luck. Goodness gracious. I am SOL. I don't have any Gatorade left. We are out of Gatorade. I need to go to Sam's this weekend and get more. Today's stream is sponsored by Mountain Dew. I've only got about 15 minutes left. 20 minutes. It's not going to be that bad. Not that bad for me. All right, and we are back. I am out of Gatorade today. I'm not happy about it. When someone opens their fridge and you just hear, oh, no, this is not some food, not a good sign. Yeah, I'm out of Gatorade. There was one in there this morning. The butler must have taken it to work. I was hoping, you know, but that was the last one left from the package that we bought at the Sam's. So we'll have to go again. All right, let us do another heat. Another heat, another heat. All the heats. Let me make sure that I've got another recording going. I don't need a million of the same process over and over because this is kind of a very tedious process, but I need some. I need some. All right, I think we're gonna focus on this section for our next heat. I really needed to close in a little bit. We're getting pretty bulbous, but you know, like I said, it's kind of a slow and tedious process. We're doing our best. Alrighty, a couple more heats and I'll probably braid off. We're starting to get a little bit on the late side. Well, not late. We're still well within our normal time period. But like I said, I want to restrict the time period to 2.5 hours of streaming so that I can rest. This weekend is going to be, hopefully I'll be able to rest on Saturday, but I need to do a little bit of work on Sunday, and I need to be refreshed for that. I am continuing to handle the axe, and then I need to go back in on the other steak so that it's ready for Monday's stream. So I think I'm going to do 2 more heats, and then I will go in the house, cool off, and I don't know. watch some TV or scroll or play some video games. So yesterday we were gonna try and test out my new Bluetooth HDMI cable connection. We didn't get around to it though, so hopefully I can do that this weekend. That's another thing that I'd really like to do. Test that out, see how well it works, how well the transmission goes. I'm a little bit afraid that it's going to be similar to how my microphone works, where sometimes it gets a little crackly. I want to make sure that it's a really strong connection and I'm not going to like blink out in the middle of a heat or something. I mean, it's probably going to be good enough that we'll probably want to use it for on the road streams, but I don't know that I want to use it in the shop if there's a lot of interference. All right, let's do another heat. We've got plenty of heat in our steel. All right, what side did I say that I wanted to do work on? Probably that one. I'm gonna drop this. I haven't dropped it so far, and yet might be doing it this time. All right, more heat. We're gonna focus in on this side. For our next heat. So in the end, this is going to be a Pauldron designed after the Mandalorian. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Disney show Mandalorian, it is a Star Wars spinoff. There are Jedi in it, but only after the second season. You can see Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano in it. I was actually pretty happy during the first season when there weren't any Force users in that show. I mean, I love Force users as much as the next person, but I do enjoy the personal or like the interpersonal, down to earth stories that you see in the first season of Mandalorian and in the Andor series. I thought both of which were really good. I think Andor is probably the best Star Wars show that they have produced. And then Rogue One, which is Andor is the sequel to, or I guess the prequel to Rogue One. And yeah. Oh, wow. Helen Faye, thank you so much for that raid. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. So today we are working on the Mandalorian's Pauldron. We started with a flat sheet of steel today, and we have been hammering it into a domed shape. We're still in the very preliminary parts, or I guess heats of this. So it doesn't look like much right now, but as we continue to work on this over the next several days and a couple weeks, we should be able to get something really nice looking. So today is my affiliate anniversary. I became an affiliate on January 6th of 2025, and I have a couple of raids to thank for my being able to apply for affiliate. So I love raiding. I love raiders coming in. I love raiding off. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. And I do have one last heat before I'm planning on raiding off. Unfortunately, I do have some stuff that I need to take care of. But thank you so much for joining me. I do stream. Sorry, I stream on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2:30 Eastern U.S. time. So while I may be leaving shortly, I will be back on Monday to continue working on this Pauldron. So thank you so much, Black Tech and Helene Faye, for the follows. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate this. All right, let me follow Helene. Who is calling me? Suspected spam. Well, I don't need suspected spam to answer right now. But yeah. Oh, thank you so much for those bits. Thank you so much. Like I said, I will be doing another heat, so you will get to see what's going on and stuff before I raid out. But yeah. This is a silversmithing technique that I am transferring to blacksmithing at the moment. Normally, these techniques are done with much more ductile metal, which means that usually it stays in place when you hammer it. The steel has a very bouncy effect to it, so when I hammer down on one side, it kind of tends to pop up on the other side. It takes a little bit longer, but you can get the same result. It just takes a little bit more time. Alrighty, let's do that heat. Over the next several streams, we will be making all of the trim and the Mudhorn emblem and putting it on here as well. So I've been working on taking out these little folds that are developing. By hammering on the highest point of the fold, it forces the steel to kind of, it forces it in on itself and makes the material thicker in those spots. However, I am also losing material to scale, which is basically hot rust. So anything that flies off, if you can see those little flecks flying off, that's actually steel. So between the upsetting the material to thicken it, I am losing about as much material to scale. So I think we'll probably need a little bit more heat, but we've got quite a bit of a bowl shape right there. So we started this direction with a ball peen hammer, kind of doming that out a little bit, and now we're kind of using our the air to kind of shove the material the way that we want to. Against, this is called a stake, so it's a miniature anvil. I am rocking the steel backwards so that instead of hitting the material between the hammer face and the face of the stake, I'm actually shoving the material into the air gap in between. Ooh, that's nice. It's working out nice. Easier to fit it in there. Yes, we are upsetting the armor. Smith the knife and pinned at a medieval reenactment event once. Yeah, there's this one event at the Texas Renaissance Fair. I think it's like Dragon Forge puts it on, and they allow you to come in and pay money and forge your own souvenir. It's a really cool program. I think I'm going to do one more heat just because we've had a raid. I do still have a few things that I need to do, but they can wait just a little bit. I want to do one last heat on this. Give you time to answer questions or ask questions, and I can answer them. I wondered if it was scale that made your hammer hand jump a couple of times. Not really. I haven't felt any scale burns. Mostly, like I said, it's because steel has a very springy effect. This is mild steel, so there's no carbon in it. I mean, not no carbon, because, I mean, it is steel, and that's what makes it steel. But it's not a high carbon steel like what you would use for, like, tools or knives. This is a very low carbon steel, but it does still have that springy effect. Okay, so normally I would hold on to the piece of steel with my hand, but because we're heating it like this, I can't do that. So I'm using tongs, and tongs give the steel a little bit of extra leverage, so it makes it easier for it to spring outward. Yeah, I think I recognize the springiness you talked about. Yeah. So some of it, as some of it goes in, more of it also goes out. So it's kind of like a push and a pull. Eventually, it will all go exactly where I want it to go, but it's going to take time. This process demands patience. Not something that I normally have a lot of, but, you know, it's there. All right, we've got plenty of heat. We're going to do one more round. I've got a couple of ripples to take out, and then after that we will raid off. So if there's anybody that you guys would like to raid train and all that, please do let me know. Papas37 and OE Tiger, thank you so much for those follows. Welcome to the stream, welcome to the community. And like I said, I will be back on Monday doing the same project that we are currently doing. This is going to be a long-term project for at least a week, if not maybe a couple of weeks. See if I can't grab this the way I want to. Because of course, it wants to be misbehave. All right, so we've got some folds. Let's take them out. All right. So taking out a little bit of the rippling that's happening over there. So that's actually pretty good progress for one day. I've definitely done pieces of armor that were about that shallow. This needs to be a little bit more, or have a little bit more depth, because we need to make some ridges that go through there. Because these are the Mandalorian, or this is the Mandalorian Pauldron. But yeah, that's all she wrote for the day. But I hope to see you guys in the next few streams. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for helping me celebrate my affiliate anniversary. I am almost sure you did not write anything on this stream. I suppose I didn't. But yes, thank you guys so much. Thank you for all of your support throughout this last year and in the upcoming days, weeks, months, and years that I continue to stream. Thank you so much. Yes, have a wonderful weekend. Do something fun. Oh, and if I did not say a happy anniversary, thank you guys so much. You guys also have a great weekend. And you know, I'm planning on being here for a really, really long time, so. I hope to see you guys. Thanks for showing what you do. That's so awesome. Thank you. I appreciate all of your support, and I love doing this. It's so much fun. All right, let's see who is available. The mic goes again. Maybe it's because I'm really close to the thing this time. Let's raid Mr. Boombody. Oh, Mr. Boombody is gonna, or is being right back. How about Ping? It's been a while since we've raided Ping. Ooh, night vision cam. We have a bunny. Ooh, I see it. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Thank you so much for all of your support. Bye.